Throwback Thursday, we're gonna take a toast. I'm gonna take my kombucha out of the freezer and we're gonna toast to tacos on this Throwback Thursday. We're gonna rock the house with some taco meat and a different type of cheese sauce that I'm gonna make up using jungle peanuts. Have you ever used jungle peanuts? Also, we're gonna use pecans for the meat, the taco meat that is. Let me grab the booch. So today, on this Throwback Thursday, we have this beautiful glass that was gifted to me when I was working for NATO in Naples, Italy. And so the gentleman that I took on a walk around, he was an old veteran from back in the day when, actually it was Bagnoli, they've now since moved, was established. And so he made these for me for 2012, put my name. I put some bee pollen and some kombucha and ginger. It's a kombucha with ginger and lemon that I made earlier. We're gonna roll the card over. Voila, we have mise en place. So if you've watched me in the past, I can spend hours in the kitchen. We're trying to make this more efficient, save you time, and show you that I actually can be prepared and not just be talking, you know. So let me know in the comments if you're new, if you've never been on our page and watched any of these videos. I am always excited to share and very grateful when you show up. Tell me your health and fitness goals in there, where you're from, because if you're local to Clearwater, Florida, that's where I'm at. Cheers to this Thursday, to your health, to good belly, good food, good friends, good company, good vibes. The bee pollen really makes it. So here's what I need to prepare. Here's what I have laid out. I have one of my old recipes that I kind of pulled out of the archives. It's not any different than most of them. It's actually kind of cool because I do things different every time, but I do have everything written down. So if you have any questions, let me know. We have, this is the meat, these are tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes. They're soaking in water. These are the jungle peanuts soaking in water. Now, I'm gonna be straight up. Normally I will pop the skins off because the skins are bitter. We'll see how much time I have to work on that. I'm not necessarily gonna hold you all for that. I'm gonna probably do a small batch first so that you can see what it takes. I have measured out 3 cups, here's the third, 3 cups of pecans that are gonna go into the food processor that we have plugged in. The way this begins, these are the pecans I'm using. They're nothing special. You work with what you have. Sometimes I will go all out and I'll get totally raw, and I typically like to soak the dark nuts, especially the walnuts, pecans, because of the actual skin of them. So these came from Costco. How many of you all are Costco members? And so we have that. And the first thing you want to do is place the pecans into the food processor. We're doing 3 cups because we got like some hungry mouths to feed in this house, and it's always nice to have something prepped and ready just to grab out of the fridge. And I was really feeling a craving for taco salad today. I don't know what it is. Tacos are good every day. We don't need to have Taco Tuesday. We should have tacos every day as far as I'm concerned. And now I would normally, again, you'll work with what you got. I would normally use a sweet bell pepper, but I don't have one. I have the garlic, and I have a hot chili from the garden. It's not red yet, but it's still spicy enough to work with, right? The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna pulse pecans, because once they get wet, it's going to be harder to break them down into smaller chunks. So you really want them in smaller chunks before you start adding the rest of the other ingredients to it. hold your ears. It might be a little noisy. I have 2 food processors, and I'm a little bit, sometimes I'm a little confused with this one because I forget that it's not just push and release. So you want it to go down into a nice chunky consistency, not too thick, you know, like this would be a little bit too thick, but it'll probably break down as I'm going. Now my other food processor is the Cuisinart, and when you take it off base, the whole blade pops up. Pay attention if you take things off of the base of your food processor. That can make all the difference of whether or not you got to pour it out and put it back in. And that can save you time knowing ahead of time. So the next ingredients I like to add, we have turmeric. Look at that yellow, right? Anti-inflammatory, immune boosting. Turmeric is good for so many things. I know for myself, chronic pain. I use turmeric in anything I can fit it in. So in this particular recipe, I'm going to put, let me see what I put down there. 1/4 teaspoon, and I'm pretty much an eyeballer when I come down to measuring, but I did read these out when I initially put these recipes together, so I assure you they will work fine. And always flavor according to your taste, because you don't know until you try it if whether or not it's according to what you would like. Now, if you're like me, I love curry, period. If you don't have straight turmeric, my alternative and go-to, and I use this in all my salads, I use Indian curry, just the plain Indian curry, and I buy in bulk, so this is a reuse. It isn't Frontier, it's Star West Botanicals. I switch between the 2 brands. It's just what I use, what's available. I like to buy in bulk because it's a lot easier to refill than to go keep buying new jars and waste and all that. And it's more cost efficient, really, in the end. Now we got the flavors that bring out the tacos are the coriander and the cumin. And so I'm going to actually pop the little liddy. You know how they have that little spout there? Most people don't use that. They'll usually just sprinkle it on. Or like me, I'll be patting the back of the jar. So with the cumin, we're going to have 1/2 teaspoon. You can put more or less. Oh yeah, I actually like a lot. Cumin's great for pain, anti-inflammation. If you need magnesium, cumin is very high in magnesium, and it's probably the one thing that is the one herb that is least admired for what it brings for properties and benefits. I actually put a little bit more. I probably put about 1 teaspoon in there just because I'm kind of feeling I need more of that flavor. Let me know in the comments where you're coming from, where you're tuning in. Ground pepper, black pepper, about 1/4 teaspoon. This really kind of brings out the flavors of the, yeah, and again, I'm just gonna throw it in there. And I just like to put the dry ingredients mixed in as well. And you can always add more if you want to change up the flavor. Listen to your taste buds. That's what it's all about, tuning into all of your senses and being fully engaged in the sensuality of your food and your preparation. Coriander, we're doing 1/2 teaspoon. Coriander is the seed of cilantro. So don't be confused, but coriander, even when I was looking in Italy, when I lived in Italy, I would go around asking for cilantro, but it's really called coriandolo. So when you ask for cilantro in Italy, which is less known about, because I would say the Spanish side sees cilantro like the Italians see parsley. And to find it is much easier than it used to be. And you know, when you travel, you got to know that not everything's going to be available that we're used to, especially here in the United States where we have everything at our disposal. And we can go to any grocery store, especially if you're in big cities where you have your pick of the litter, let's say. Oh. All right, so now we're going to pulse these herbs and spices together with the nuts. And that's a nice mix. It's already smelling amazing. I'm going to drain off the liquid, because what I do is I don't get rid of the liquid from this, because sometimes I need a little liquid when I'm doing these types of ingredients. It may not move as much, it may need a little bit more, we'll see. And so this is a cup of sun-dried tomatoes, and you just throw them in there. Again, if you haven't watched me before, you know I lick the bowl. And the food's so good, I don't deny it. I appreciate it. Yum. Okay, then we have garlic. Again, if you're a garlic lover like I am, you can put 2-3 cloves. That's pretty much what I'm putting in. I actually thought I had two large cloves. It turned into being 4 cloves, and that's okay. So we've got the garlic, and then we want lime or lemon, you choose. What the best way to get a juicy lemon is to really put your body weight down on it and roll it on the countertop. This will make it easier so that once you have actually cut it, you can squeeze it into the mix easier. And I also like to pull out the pulp. So if there's seeds, they'll go in the sink. I will wedge out each individual one. That's just my MO method of operation. Being prior military, there were a whole lot of acronyms that I became accustomed to, and you get, you know, this day and age we have so many acronyms. Don't you feel like we're acronym overload? TGI Friday, FOMO. Everybody know what FOMO is? Fear of missing out. Social media's kind of put us in those spaces, haven't they? We have to know what everything and everybody's doing. Even the media's done that to us. There was a time we didn't know, but we're learning. You gotta make sure you don't pull out any seeds. I've been known to accidentally have some seeds, but fortunately I usually catch them before I blend it up. Do you all out there have any of your favorite toppings you like on tacos? I like to mix in cilantro. I like to also mix in, cilantro, lime, sour cream. Of course, this is going to be a nut-based sour cream, but whatever you like is all that matters. I like also to top with some cherry tomatoes. Avocado's a must. We have 2 avocados over here. At least an avocado a day keeps the doctor away, in my opinion. It's healthy fats, they're whole food, high in amino acids, which are what your body needs to create protein. We have to get over these old ways they've taught us to believe that protein has to come from certain sources. It's actually that our body creates and makes it. But if we go for something that we have to break down, our body has to take more time, and that's where a lot of the aging comes in, right? Our bodies will break down because they have to break other things down. And we want clean, efficient foods. At least that's been my experience. Lemon is good. So I will put 2 in here. You may only want half a lemon or lime, again. Limes also brings out different flavors. You can put a pinch of salt. I'll throw in a little bit of salt in here. A lot of times the only reason I don't use a lot of salt, I'll use dulse. I prefer the C varieties. Or if I do use salt, I try to use sea salt. But I also like that things like celery have natural sodium salt in them, so you don't need to always add salt. It's just my opinion. I mean, I don't expect everyone to agree with me, so that's not the case here. I'm just sharing that my knowledge has been that when I have too much salt, my ankles will swell. It causes hypertension. If you are someone who suffers with circulatory issues, it's hard. It can be too taxing on the kidneys if you have too much. And so the question is whether or not you're getting the soluble form of the sodium that your body needs versus just what we've been told it comes in. So you have to know your source of everything, right? Okay, so we're done with this. I like to throw the lemon peels in regular trash so that I don't attract citrus mice out to my compost. We have plenty of critters as it is. We have possum and everything else that eat. So now we have all the ingredients in there to pulse. Okay, this is where it becomes the taco meat. And so you may have to stop it periodically and push down the sides. Okay, now this is smelling amazing. This is where I was saying that I keep the liquid from soaking the sun-dried tomatoes because it's really, really dry. And I like it a little bit more moist. Again, this is, a recipe is just a suggestion of ingredients and how much to put in. Some recipes are ideal and perfect the way they are, and some require your flavors added. So I just like to add more liquid. You don't need to add all of it, just as much as I'm thinking about half of it actually. Yeah, there we go. Because you have to remember you're working with herbs and nuts that are already dry, and they'll absorb the moisture from what's already in there, from the lemon, exactly. Okie doke, we're pushing it down. I'm thinking I might need to use all that liquid now, just looking at it. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. You can also use walnuts, Brazil nuts, almonds. I mean, you just try other nuts. They're gonna impart different flavors. You know what I forgot? The chili. You can use a habanero. Whatever you use, just be aware. And if this isn't spicy enough, I'm pulling out the cayenne. Sometimes I'll use this. Ooh, that's spicy. I can taste it when I lick my finger. The cayenne, I really like the chipotle as well because it gives it a little smoke flavor. In fact, I'm just gonna put a couple dashes of the chipotle. And there are different types of chipotle. Some chipotles are smoked and some chipotles are just sweet. This has a little bit of a sweet smoke. And an extra thing that you can add, Italian herbs, right? See, I've started to label my stuff. I had a ninja suggest it would be very helpful, so. I know what everything is, but if someone comes into my kitchen, it's nice for them to know what they're grabbing. And so, you don't need much. Again, I buy in bulk my Italian herbs, my herbs de Provence. This makes life much easier so I don't have to go out and buy more stuff. Everything's available and I can just refill as I need it. I do the same thing with my curry powder, my turmeric, my cumin. Pretty much my main herbs and spices I definitely buy in bulk. I hope you're enjoying this recipe because I can tell you right now, after this last round, it should be pretty much done. And it really helps to do it in steps so that, like I said, everything gets absorbed, everything is perfectly mixed and chopped at the prior properties. You get the nuts chopped well and mixed with the herbs and spices. In fact, I'm just going to taste it now because it's already looking and smelling amazing in here. Oh yeah, that's absolutely perfect. So we're gonna just pulse it a little bit more. And then I'm gonna move on to the cheese. Delicious. What is your favorite food processor out there? Does anybody use a Cuisinart? This is a Black & Decker my sister gifted to me. And I love the Cuisinart personally, because the Cuisinart, I just got used to using a Cuisinart. But that doesn't mean it's the best one. If anybody has any suggestions, I've still been kind of on the fence of whether I like this one because it has a bigger container, whereas the other one, it's a little smaller. And so when you need something more, this is the okay. All right, so we're done with that. Now we're gonna move on to the cheese. This is the part, the piece de resistance. Oh, ripe olives. Okay, here's my question, Dee Dee. Are the ripe olives are they in the brine? Or are you talking about straight off the tree? Because I've always understood straight off the tree needs to also still be sitting in a brine or soaked for a little bit of time. I don't know. Even after living in Italy, my understanding was it needed to either be soaking for a period of time before you could eat them fresh, right? Please share in the comments. I want to know your feedback on that, if it's coming from the tree or if they're having been soaked. And then we have, my RawThentic is probably the most used appliance in this entire kitchen, mostly because I do and have been making smoothies and soups for years, and it's very easy and efficient. Use your NutriBullet for everything. Does it have the same the container as or are you using it from the smoothie pitcher? And so now for the cheese, we have, like I said, we're going to use jungle peanuts. Now, jungle peanuts, unlike regular peanuts, come from a tree. Regular peanuts come from the ground, which makes them a legume, not a nut. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. I stopped eating peanuts because of the whole peanut scare years ago, which my understanding, I think personally it was the rapeseed oil. They were using it from my research and everything I learned. But jungle peanuts, look at this, look at the difference. When you take this peel off, the peel reveals what looks like an actual peanut, and the flavor is very similar. It's not as heavy. So like what I do, I just pop this skin off because the skin will give it a bitter flavor, right? So what do you think? Who out there has had jungle peanuts? And when you eat it, they don't need to be soaked. I just was soaking these so that it would remove the skins easier. There's a sweetness to it. Very delicious. It's yummy, yummy. And it's very unique. It's very, very familiar, like a regular peanut. So we're going to strain the liquid off. I've been soaking these for maybe an hour as I was preparing to come live and share this. I'm just pouring it into the sink. And so I have been known, like I said before, to individually just pop these off like that. You just squeeze them. It's the same with almonds too. Like almonds, you can do the same thing because there will be a totally different flavor and they will swell too, which is nice. Just like almonds, they will swell and they will sprout. Again, see, jungle peanut. And I like these without the skin because the skin gives them a bitter flavor. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to make a very small batch with the skins, and then I'll also have some made up afterward when we're done, when I peel off all of the skins, And we'll have Tom taste test them both, because then he'll have an opportunity to see the difference in the flavors. Because when you have skins on any nuts, and we're gonna measure out, we're gonna do 1 cup. When you do any type of skin on any type of nut, you're gonna get the bitterness from the skin. You're gonna feel the, there's a word for it. The skin has, if you remember it, type it in the comments. It's at the tip of my tongue. Yeah. So we have 1 cup of jungle peanuts. And again, you don't need many ingredients in this. I'm not even gonna put garlic in it, and normally I will put garlic. Where did I put my booch? I'm feeling a little bit parched. Are you all toasting to this Taco Thursday throwback? Let me tell you that when the bee pollen settles in that, it does sweeten it more. Even better if you add a little honey to it. And I like to add chickpea miso. How many out there use chickpea miso? I like to lacto ferment my foods, and so here's the chickpea miso. We have a little glare from the outside light. It is a sunny day here in the Sunshine State. And we're doing 1 cup, and this will be about a teaspoon. And then, and you can sit this overnight. It's going to keep changing in flavor, which is really beautiful, because any type of fermented nuts and seeds, it's good for your belly. It's going to increase your good bacteria. I know for me, digestion's always been something I've been working on. And I'm going to add some dulse to this. That's the only thing I did remember to place in mise en place. So this is a container of dulse. Again, I buy everything in bulk, and I love dulse because then you don't even need to add salt, and you get a little bit more of a different flavor. And so this coloring is going to be a little bit funny. It's not going to be white. Like, it's interesting how we eat with our eyes, and you can easily be turned away because it's not the color you expect, because it's the color it's a different color than what you've always known. And so a lot of times we have to be open to whatever, let me see, dulse. I've got about a tablespoon and a half. Or teaspoon, yeah, it's about a tablespoon, sorry. That is delicious. You can add herbs to it when you're doing this, or you can just leave it plain and simple like this. First, I'm going to blend it, and then we're going to see if I want to add anything else. Leave that out. So we need some water. Not too much, it'll be too runny. You don't want it too runny. I'm going to say half a cup. We start out small, and then you can always increase as you go. Yeah. It's probably, it looks like more, but it's about a half a cup. So apologize again, we're gonna have a little noise. All right, so this is what it looks like so far, because it's still chunky in there. And this is from the taco meat. What I do is I just slide down. That's a great thing about having a nice spatula that's flat, is I'll slide this all down. I'll add more water because clearly it needs more water. All right. And so, like I said, you can see in there that the consistency is very chunky, right? Miso soup is delicious. Chickpea, it's that salty umami flavor we like, right? The earthiness, the saltiness. And more water. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna say it's probably about a maximum of about a cup of water is what this is gonna equate to. 1 cup to 1 cup ultimately. And just by eyeballing it, what I do is I like to wash it down the side, so I don't like to waste all this good, juicy, yummy food stuff, right? Much better. Toasting to good health and good friends. Alrighty, let's see. Oh yeah, so it's gonna need another round, but it's better because it does take a little bit of pulsing to get a nice creamy consistency in these high-powered blenders like the Vitamix or the RawThentic. You definitely want to be aware of how your machinery operates, because some people don't realize. In the case of like the RawThentic, I know if there's an air pocket, I have to tap the side or I have to stop it. It's a matter of suction propelling it down. It pulls it down, right? I'm getting splattered when I try to look in there, right? So I'm going to try it with a spoon and see how the consistency is and the flavor. It's good. It's really good. Super yum. It's different. I typically like to make my sour creams and cream cheeses using macadamia nuts. Those are my favorite nuts to use. But this is flavorful. I would say just a smidgen of apple cider vinegar to give it a little sour flavor to it, or you can use a lemon. So I put a splash of apple cider vinegar, and I think I'm going to add you know what, I'm going to add a clove of garlic. Just because I feel like a clove of garlic really will, and this is how we roll in the kitchen. And I just want you to know, whatever you do in the kitchen, just let it be your own flavor. Don't worry about what other people do, and you know, like if it tastes good to you, that's all that matters. So we're gonna put a nice slice of garlic in there and just clip off the end of that. It's funny how we're really selective and we establish these ideas of what we like and what we dislike. Alrighty, blend it up. And the other cool thing, what you can do with this is you can add more water if you want it to be more runny, like an actual sour cream that you can pour. Literally, I'm getting spit out when I open this and I don't. Yes. Oh. Have you ever made nuts or seed cheeses? Do you have a favored or preferred nut that you use? Tell me, tell me, tell me. This is how we share and learn, is from one another, right? Let me try this flavor now. It's very good. I think that's one of the few times I've actually put a splash of apple cider vinegar in. In the past I've used lemon, but that kind of gives it that pucker. Yum. Here, let me try that again. It's kind of nice. It's unique, it's different. There's some things I would do differently. Because again, I haven't used jungle peanuts in a while. I typically will make cheeses with them, but I have not done this style of cheese before like it. And it's really, really good. If it needs anything, I would say just depends on your flavor. This goes really nice on the walnut meat, or the taco meat, I should say. So I pulled out an onion. I love red onions. Any other onion fans out there? I'm going to cut up, just dice up some slices, because I don't like to add it necessarily to the mix, because onions are something that absorb the toxins from the air. So I like to use them up as immediately if possible, and not too. You're really good for drawing out toxins. They used them in the bubonic plague to pull out the bacteria and the virus out of the air. And so I'm just going to dice it up, and then we're going to add it to the taco salad. I'm going to tell you, this is going to be one yummy salad. Always protect your fingers. I'm not exactly using the full fulcrum grip on this. And that's okay. Just be careful. I have been known. I've cut myself several times, and I have to be very mindful of my thoughts and where they're going. I find the most harm I do to myself is typically when I'm being harmful in my mind. Very overthinking, right? Okay. Time to make the salad. We also have the tomatoes back there, so okay. Let me see. Pull out a really nice bowl for you to see this in and present it nicely to you. Ooh, sorry about that. Some noise going on. Right, Robin? Taco salad. What are you having for lunch today? We are having taco salad in the house here. And again, you may have some other ingredients you can throw on there. If you have bell peppers, dice up some bell peppers. We're just gonna throw some really nice, I love mixed greens, and especially one of the things I love in mixed greens is I really like the shards, the kales, the baby kales. Yeah, I'm picking at it because I'm that picky. I'm very selective about my food. You just place it all in here. Nibble as you go. Yum. Prepping, doing the best you can, enjoying your food. Really, with gratitude and blessing your food, like you should have so much gratitude about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and the gift of being able to do it, you know? The gift of being able to receive it. To bless the people that made all this food available to you while you're, it's just a mindfulness that while I prepare food, I go through, you know, the farmers and the people that shipped it, because I'm aware there's more than just the food. Now, of course, the best food is coming out of your garden. It will have the most vitality and vibrancy, and taste the most flavorful. We've already figured that out. All right, so a nice salad mixed up. I'm going to mix in just some onions on top. Not too much. I know when Tom comes home, he doesn't like too many, but he loves onions. Let's say. I like to surprise. I like to do little goodies. Today I woke up to the smell of Buddy's babufas. I know that's great conversation while I'm in the kitchen, but it just is what it is. And I'm like, dude, really? But you know, we can choose to get upset at the babufas, or we can change it, have some kombucha, and toast to life. Tomatoes, cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes. Make sure you got some flavorful bites. Okay. And now I personally, I like to also cut it down into, if not halves, I quarter them. Is anybody else like this? Like, food is a presentation, it's an art. It's a blessing. Again, I really enjoy playing in the kitchen, if you couldn't tell, those of you especially who've been watching me for a while. This is one of my main passions in life. It's really something very special. You know, we commune around food. Everything in our lives revolves around food. And to not get caught up in the woes of life, but to really embrace and enjoy the food when it's prepared and when you get to engage and to fully participate in it and wholeheartedly have that full, rich experience. Okay, so there's that. We're getting there. And now, the best part. The piece de resistance is the taco meat. We have to remove the cover. Place it off to the side. I'm like picking and eating it as I go. And so, let me take out probably, and you know, depending on how you like it, I wouldn't just put a big old plop in the middle. I like to mix it around and put like little dollops all over. And you can add more lemon and lime and cut up that avocado that's sitting there staring me in the face. That'll be the next thing. I'm almost there. See? Beautiful piece. Beautiful food. Delish. In fact, I think the flavors are just perfect. Yeah, totally. All right, so we're gonna pull out this gorgeous avocado. Did you avocado your avocado today? I don't think I could ever go without avocados. And I feel for those people who are allergic. I like to cut it in half, create long cuts, and then just cut across this way. This is my method. Not everybody has to do this, but I like to cut this way under and then just plop in, and it comes out in wedges, right? And then I do it again to the next level. Now, if there are any bad parts, I cut them out as I go. Oh, this is so pretty. I love it. Food is beautiful. Even, you know, all the colors. You should eat all the colors of the rainbow. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yum. And again, if you have cilantro, you could throw some cilantro in there. You can take your lime, lemon, whatever you want, and just add more because it will bring more of the flavors out. I'm just going to squeeze some of the lemon on top after I pull these seeds out. Yeah, there's another seed. Ooh, hello, eyes. Protect your eyes from the lemon. The citrus can burn. It'll burn. Oh, wow. Very, very seldom does food get wasted around here when I prepare it. Sometimes we may overlook some things that are fresh and they go bad, and we're still working. I don't think I'm the only one that, no matter how hard I try, and my intentions may be good to make certain foods, like I'll buy a cauliflower head. Anybody else out there do this? I'll buy a cauliflower head, or maybe the spinach, for example, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll use all that. I'll definitely use that, and it doesn't get used. It gets wasted. But don't beat yourself up. Things like this happen. Life happens, and sometimes you just can't account for it, and it's all good. Just hopefully you have a compost and you can throw it in the compost. Now, this is before the cheese. Isn't that gorgeous? A lot of thumb action. What do you think? Anybody hungry out there? All right, now we're gonna take some of the cheese because it's not pourable. And yeah, like I said, it's gonna have a different color than what we're used to. So some people out there are used to having the white coloring, you know what, if we can get over our hang-ups and expectations of how things have been and how they should be, we will be so much happier in life, because the root of our suffering is our attachments. The way we want them to be, the way we want things to look. We have to move forward and just expect the best of everything in the way it's presented to us and appreciate it as it's presented. So, oh my gosh. This special dish is dedicated to Tom for when he arrives. I'm sure he'll enjoy mash and munch. Feast with your eyes, smell with your senses, and taste with your buds. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you haven't ninja flipped into the group, please make sure that you get your happy little rockin' rad star butt in there. Create a new post and introduce yourself, because we want to get to know you. We want to know what makes you drool, baby. What makes you want to do? Make that. What is it in your life that motivates, inspires you? What is it that uplifts you? What gets you out of bed in the morning? What about life excites you? There's always something. And sometimes we get a little off track, but the key is you never stop. You always go back to where the passion is. And so sometimes passion includes suffering, but you know what? The sacrifice is to make sacred. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves, come back to the being we are, the truth of knowing that we have the power within. We can change things on a dime in an instant, only if you want to. So, without further ado, I think it's time for a love spin boom. What? Boom! What? I love